Okay. So the topic is constructors and destructors. So that means, so whenever we use constructors in the program, so destructors are also executed. Okay, so that is the meaning. So when we use constructor, destructor is also executed. And one more thing is, if we don't use constructor and destructor also, by default constructors and destructors are executed. Okay, but we should know how they are executed and when they are executed. Okay, see, an object's constructor is called when the object comes into existence, and an object's destructor is called when an object is destroyed. See, whenever we say constructor, the meaning of constructor is to construct. Construct means like to give the value for the data member. Okay, to give the value for the data member. That means to initialize the object. See how many meanings we will get. You just listen. Construct means to construct. Okay, general meaning is to construct. So to construct means in programming language, that too in C++, where and all we come across class and objects. So construct means to give the initial value to the data member. That is nothing but to initialize an object. Okay. So, and next thing, when it is called. Called means when it will work. See, constructor, an object's constructor is called means object constructor is working. Calling is nothing but working. Function call is nothing but it makes the function to work. So constructor is called means constructor starts working. So when it starts working, when object comes into existence. Object comes into existence means what? Object is created. Okay. So generally where we will create object. So in main function we will create the object. So if we consider the class, see, if suppose if I consider class A, okay. So if I consider the class A, so when I write the constructor for this, for example, public in the public section, I should write the constructor A. So class name and function name should be same. That is nothing but the constructor. Okay. So this is the constructor. Okay. So now, so in the class, we can write the data and functions, both we can write. Okay, so data means before public only, we have to write the data, that is in the private section. So if suppose if I write A, so we have, so this A is data. So here I write. So A is data, and this A with parenthesis, capital letter A with parenthesis is constructor, because class name and this is matching. So class name is A, function name is A. If suppose if you want to take class name as ABC, so constructor also you can take it as like ABC. So this is the constructor, this is the data. Okay. Now, so I'll write it as constructor. So this concept we know now. Okay. So in the previous class we have discussed. Next, say if I want if I want to make this constructor to work, so what I should do is I should create an object. So in the main function, so I will create the object. For example, ABC object name. Suppose if I take like M is an object. You can take anything. Okay, it's our wish. So when this line is executed, okay, when this line is executed, constructor starts working, because here at this point object is created. At this line object is created. Object M is created. So whenever object is created, that is whenever object comes into existence, constructor starts working. That is nothing but constructor is called. Okay. And what is the help of constructor? We can give the value for the data. See, in this function, we can give the value for the data. Suppose if I say A is equals to 0, in this way we can give the value. Okay. So from this simple code, what we can understand is we have written the constructor, we have created the object, and when the object is created, constructor will be called. When constructor is called, data members are initialized. If I say data members are initialized, you can say object is initialized, because when object is created, this data member will be linked to this object. Okay, with respect, how we have to say is with respect to object M, for variable A, the value is 0. Okay, and if you create one more object, say for example N, okay, same thing. For object M, for variable A, value is 0. For object N, for variable A, value is 0. Okay, that means for each object, for object m and for object n, this value will be given. Okay, equal to 0. Okay. Now, coming to the destructor. So we will see how destructors will be executed. Okay. See, and an object destructor is called when object is destroyed. See, when object is destroyed, meaning there is no line to destroy the object. See, there is a statement to create an object, but there is no line to destroy the object. That means object is destroyed. Like if I say in real world, if I say like birth and death, okay, like that it is. Destroy means it will not exist further. See, in the previous sentence, you observe object comes into existence. Comes into existence means object will be created. Object is destroyed means existence will go. Okay. For existence, we have the code. To make object to come into existence, we have the code. That means that is nothing but object is created. So just now we have written how we have to how we can create an object. But for the sentence object is destroyed, there is no statement in the program. Automatically it will delete. That means memory which is allocated for object will be deleted, will be released. Okay, that memory can be used by other user or other program. Okay. Next, see, but how we have to understand is, see, for example, in this code only, what I have written, in this code only, we have constructor, and in the main program, I have created the objects. Okay. See, when object m is created, constructor will be called. When object n is created, constructor will be called. 2 times constructor will be called. But when destructor is called means, see, first of all, we have to write the destructor, right? See, how to write the destructor means we have to use this symbol, that is negation symbol. Okay, it will look like a wave. Okay, negation symbol. Destructor name will be also same as constructor name. So destructor name, constructor name, both will be same. That is nothing but class name. Okay. See, if you want to tell the definition of destructor is a member function whose name will be same as the class name. Destructor is a member function whose name will be same as the class name. Constructor is also a member function whose name will be same as the class name. Difference is, in case of constructor, we will not put this symbol, that is wave symbol, tiled symbol. It is called as tiled symbol. Will not put this symbol. In case of destructor, we will put the tiled symbol. Okay. So I can say this complete code is destructor. Okay. Okay. Now we have understood how constructor starts working. Okay, when it is called, when it is invoked, when object is created, constructor starts working. But coming to the destructor, there is no statement which indicates destructor starts working. That is, destructor is called. When this complete program is executed, at the end of the main function, destructor will be called automatically. Okay, try to understand this concept. At the end of the main function, that means when program stops working, when we come at the end of the working of the complete program, then destructor will be called just before this closing brace. See, again I'm telling, we cannot notice. Okay, destructors will be called automatically by the compiler, whereas for constructor we have to write this line. This line indicates constructor starts working, but for destructor it will call automatically. Okay. What we have to understand is, when destructor is called, the memory allocated for these 2 objects will be released. Okay, memory allocated for these 2 objects will be released. Then what is the use of that? Means that memory, whatever it is allocated, can be used by other user or other program. One best example I will give you. It's a real world example. It is a very good example. You just try to understand. See, if I say memory is deallocated, see, there are some terms in programming language. If I say memory is allocated means reserved. See, we will book a ticket, right? Reservation. There also we can say seat is allocated for us. That means it is reserved. That is memory space. That is either in the train or bus, it is reserved. So we have to go and sit. If somebody sits, we can tell that it's our seat. There is nothing but reservation, reserved seat. Here also we can say memory is reserved or allocated for variable or an object. So opposite of this is, we can say memory is deallocated. This term we have to use. Memory is deallocated. That means released. Memory is released. See here, if we say the word deleted, that is also correct, but how we have to understand is we should not say like memory is deleted means from the computer that is in the CPU, we should not say on the RAM that memory is deleted. See, memory is deleted means that memory can be used by other user or other program. In that way, we have to understand. Memory is deleted or deallocate or released means that memory can be used by other user or other program. See, one best example is when we were small children, we used to play in mud. Okay, we used to construct some houses in the mud. See, after the end of the play, what we used to do, we used to destroy those things and we will go home. That doesn't mean that we will carry that mud to our home, right? So other children can play that same mud. That means the same mud will be used by other children, like that it is. So deletion of memory or release of memory or deallocation of memory means that memory will be used by other user or other program. So I have given the example of children, right? When house is constructed using the mud, after the end of the play, if they want to go home, they will destroy those things and they will go. Destroy in the sense, they will not carry mud to the home, but mud will be there only. So that mud will be used by other children, like that it is. In that way, we have to understand. Okay. So now, in the document, we will see what they have done. Okay. See, an object's constructor is called when object comes into existence, that is when object is created. An object destructor is called when object is destroyed, that is memory is released, memory is deallocated. See, here also two things are there, local object and global object. Okay, local object's constructor is executed when object's declaration is encountered. The destructor for local objects are executed in the reverse order of the constructor functions. Global objects have their constructors execute before main functions. Main function begins execution. Global constructors are executed in the order of the declaration within the same file. Global destructors execute in reverse order after main is terminated. See, all this explanation is present in this program. So we will see this program. So we will come to know how these statements are working. Okay. Okay. So look at this program. Class my class in public section have the data W. See here W I have taken in a public section. We can take it. See actually by convention. Convention means how the programmers had made it as a habit. Habit in the sense like writing data in private section, functions in public section. And one more thing what we have to remember is that is not a rule. Okay, sometimes what happens, some things will be rule and some things will be habits. Habits we can change, but in some cases rules we will not change. Okay, you might have experienced it. Okay, habits means it is not a rule. Okay, rule means it is a rule, we cannot change. But here writing data in private section, it is not a rule. It is like a habit for a programmer, and we can write in public section also. Sometimes it is required to write. In this program we will come to know how it is required. And after this thing like data, so I'll write this as the data member. Okay, W is the data member. Okay, next constructor we have written. See, my class constructor, because this class name, sorry, function name, class name, both are same. So you can call it as a constructor. And there is no return type. As I said, you cannot write int, float, char, tuple, void, boolean. Even void data type also should not write. You should leave it as it is without writing anything. So there will be no data type for constructor function. Remember, there will be no data type for the constructor function. Remaining function for member functions will be there, normal member functions. And this is parameterized constructor, because in the constructor I have used one parameter that is called as ID. If I delete this, it is called default constructor. If there is no parameter, it is called as default constructor. Now it is a parameterized constructor. And here, after writing function name and parameters, I have put semicolon. That meaning of that is this is a prototype. It is not a complete function. It is a prototype, or we can say function declaration. Prototype or declaration. So when you write the function name, argument list, and put a semicolon, those lines are called as prototype or a declaration. And for a destructor also we have done the same thing. Only difference here is what we have done is this symbol we have used. So this symbol is called as right here. See, this symbol is called as tilde symbol. We have to use for destructor. Before you start writing the destructor name, you have to use this symbol. So in mathematics, it is called as a negation symbol. Okay. In one chapter, in one of the chapters of mathematics, we'll come across negation symbol. Okay. So this is called as destructor. And here also we have used a prototype only. So it is not a complete function. It is a prototype. See, whenever you use the prototype, you should know where actual functions are used. Okay, because here I have used prototype, but complete code should exist. Just only by writing prototype, it's of no use. Complete code should exist. Complete code is present here. See, down it is present. This is the complete code. So in complete code, what things we have to write? First, write the class name. Okay, so this is the class name. After writing class name, you can go for constructor name. See, my first time what you have written my class, this is the class name. Second time what you have written my class, it is a constructor name. So class name, constructor name. Both should be linked by this operator that is called as scope resolution operator. So this is linked by scope resolution operator. Okay. Then whatever the parameters are there, you write that parameter. Next, in the constructor function, this code we have written initializing ID, W is equals to ID. We'll come to know. So how it works, I will tell you in the diagram it is there. Okay. Just we will try to understand how we have written the program. Next, we will try to understand how it works. Next, similarly, I have written the destructor function. See, we just look at this destructor function. I have written. See, in case of destructor function also, class name, scope resolution operator, destructor function name, class name, scope resolution operator, destructor function name. In addition to that, tilde symbol also you have to write because in the prototype it is present. Okay. Then one statement in the destructor function. So later we will see how it works. Okay. Next, coming to the main function. So here we will see how we have written the main function. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. See, in main function, what we have done, we have created one object. So that object is local object. See, local one, I have created one local object. Another local object is also present. Okay, local two. See, when you create a variable or an object within this opening brace and closing brace, those variables or objects are called as local. Understood? Within flower brackets. Here I have started flower bracket after the main and I have closed at the end of the main function. If you create variables or objects within this main function or any other function, those things are called as local. Okay. And see here, immediately after class have declared two objects, global. So these variables are called as global because they are present outside the functions. They are not present inside the function. They are present outside the function, even outside the class also. Okay. Okay, so we have two things here, local objects and global objects. Local objects, global objects, global one, this is one object, global two, this is another object. Okay, then coming to the local objects, local one, local two, two objects are there. Now we will see how it works. See, in this diagram, we have complete working of the this thing. Okay. You see here, we try to understand this function. Okay. See, in a program, wherever this statement that is global one of one, because this is an object. Okay. If this object is created, what happens? Constructor will be called. Whether it is a local object or a global object, constructor should call. Remember, whether it is a local object or a global object, constructor should call. So where is the constructor? This coding is nothing but constructor. My class scope resolution operator, my class int ID. This coding is constructor. And inside constructor function, I have one parameter that is called ID. That ID belongs to int data type, integer data type. If it belongs to integer data type, then you have to send the value, integer value you have to send it. Okay, because it belongs to data type integer. So you see global one, that complete word is object. Okay, don't get confusion here. Global one, that complete word is object. Within the brackets, what I have written one, that is the value. Okay, outside the bracket one, that is together with global you have to read. Okay, you should not read separately global one. It is global one object name it is. Within the bracket, what I have written one, that is the value. Okay, that one is copied to this ID. Okay, and that ID is printed here. Initializing one. You have CO statement, right? Initializing one. That ID is printed. Next, that ID will be copied to W. Okay, from right hand side, it is copied to left hand side. Always, whenever you come across single equals to symbol, from right hand side, it will be copied to left hand side. It's very simple working. Right hand side to left hand side. So left hand side W is there, right hand side ID is there. ID value is one, that one is copied. And for object global one, for variable W, value is one. In this way, you have to understand. Global one is an object which is created. For that global one object, we have the variable W, data member W. For data member W, value is one. So this is the working of first object, that is global one. Understood? This is the working of first object. So constructor is called. Next, again, global two is there. Global two object. Okay. When this object is created, same process. Constructor will be called. Value 2 is copied to ID. That ID is printed. Initializing 2, that value is printed. Then ID will be copied to W. For global 2 object, for variable W, value is 2. Variable W means data member. So you call W as data member, global 2 as object. With respect to object global 2, and for data member W, value is 2. Okay. With respect to global 1 object, for data member W, value is 1. For global 2, value is 2. Okay. So 2 objects, 2 global objects, finished working process. Next, coming to the local object. Local object means which is created in the main program. You just observe this line. My class local 1 of 3. Okay. And one more thing here, what I was supposed to say is, actually program execution starts from main. Okay, program execution starts from main, that is true. But what happens here is, even though program execution starts from main, when it comes to the global objects, remember, when it comes to the global objects, just main function starts working. Immediately when main function starts working, program control will not go inside the main function. Remember, program control will not go inside the main function. Directly with respect to global one, program is executed. With respect to global one means constructor will be called. Okay. Wherever objects are created, constructor is called. That point to remember. Wherever objects are created, constructors are called. So at this line, at this line, constructor is called. Again at this line, constructor is called. For global one, first time constructor is called. For global two, constructor is called. So in the main function, whatever the statements are there, those statements are not executed first. Before this statement starts executing, only 2 times constructor will be called, because we have global objects. Understood? Before the statements in the main function starts executing, 2 times constructor will be called because of global objects for global 1 and global 2. If 2 times these statements are executed, means 2 times this message should be printed. Initializing 1, initializing 2. We just observe the output. It is printed 2 times. Initializing 1, initializing 2. Okay. See, initializing 1, initializing 2. Next, it will go to the main function to execute local objects. Okay, because global objects are executed first, next local objects. Okay, so when local 1 is executed, you just look at this diagram, what happens? Same thing. Object is created. When object is created, whatever the value present inside the object, that is copied to ID, and that ID is printed on the screen. Initializing 3, that ID is copied to W. See, constructor function is same. Working of constructor function for all objects are same. But what value it is passed and when it is executed, that you should know. Okay. For local 1 object, value is 3. For W, value is 3. Similarly, for local 2. Okay. For local 2, value is 4. Okay. So for global 1, value is 1. Global 2, value is 2. For local 1, value is 3. For local 2, value is 4. So in this way, constructors are executed. So how constructors are executed now? First for global 1, next for global 2, next for local 1, next for local 3. 4 times this constructor is executed because 4 objects are there. 2 local objects, 2 global objects. First global objects are executed, then local objects are executed. So in the main program, we have this statement. This will not be the first line to be displayed. See, why they have written this statement is, See, when C++ program starts executing, program execution starts from the main function. Okay, when C++ program starts execution, program execution starts from the main function. If it starts from the main function, immediately when it starts executing, particularly for this program, so when it comes inside the main program, first COD statement present is this only, right? In the main function, first COD statement present is this only. Actually, this line should be printed first, but there are global objects which should execute before main function. That is global one, global two. For global one, this first time this will be executed, and for global two, this will be executed. So only this will not be the first line displayed. This line will not be displayed first. It is displayed later. So when it is displayed after execution of global one, after execution of global two, after execution of local one, then it is displayed. So only you observe here. So where that line is appear. Then initializing for that is last object. This is how constructors are executed. Okay, this is how constructors are executed. Now I will wait for some minutes, 1 or 2 minutes. You just try to understand only about constructor, then we will go for destructor. Okay. Okay, you can go through this diagram. You can go through. If you come across any doubt, you can ask. Later, I will tell about destructors, how destructor will work. Okay, how it will work. See, for that we will go to this theory behind that. That is, see what they are telling. Last line: destructors, global destructors execute in reverse order after main function is terminated. Okay. Okay, so in the second sentence, the destructors for local objects are executed in the reverse order of the constructor functions. The meaning of that is, see, constructors are executed in the given order. Destructors are executed in the reverse order. That means, see how we have created the objects, in that order constructors are executed. And destructors are executed in the reverse order. See, how constructors are executed, you see. See, when this constructor function is called, when objects are created. So how many objects we have created? 4 objects, two global objects, 2 local objects. Global objects means first which is the object? Global 1. Second object is global 2. Third object is local 1. Fourth object is local 2. So in this way, we have created 4 objects. So in case of global 1 object, value is 1. So first time this constructor is called. So according to the global 1 object, this constructor is called. So I can say initializing 1. Okay. Then when global 2 object is created, this constructor is called. So I can say initializing 2. Okay, second time. Next, you come to the local object. So local 1 object is created. Again, constructor is called. Value is 3. So I can say initializing 3. Okay. After that, one statement is there. This will not be the first line displayed. If you are getting confusion about this line, we can delete this line. So you will not get any error also. Okay, in the output also will not get this line. It's okay. Next last object is local 2. Value is 4. I can say initializing 4. Now, next part of execution of this program is this destructor should work. This destructor should be called. So it should execute. So in the destructor, what is the message? Destructing W. W is the value of the objects. Value of the objects means value of the 4 objects. Global 1, global 2, local 1, local 2. For global 1, value of W is 1. For global 2, value of W is 2. For local 1, value of W is 3. For local 2, value of W is 4. So in the bracket, what I have written the value, from that only we can consider. For global 1, value of W is 1 because I have taken value 1. For global 2, value is 2. Okay. For local 1, value is 3. For local 2, value is 4. In that case, which value it should take? That is the question. Because for each object, different values are there. So the message destructing will print destructing, okay. But the value of W, what it will print, that we should know. So what it will print is this destructor should be called 4 times now, because 4 objects are there. 4 objects are destroyed. That means memory allocated for 4 objects are deallocated, released. So whenever the memory allocated for an object is released, destructor function should call. Okay. But now, while creation of objects, global one object is created first, next global two, next local one, next local four, while creating the object. While destroying the object, it will happen in reverse order. First local two object will be deallocated, next local one, next global two, next global one. This is the reverse order of destruction. So when I say local 2 is executed first, that is destructor function for local 2 is executed first. What is the value of local 2? It is 4. So you observe the output destructing 4. So while destructing, it is destructing 4. Next, destructing 3, that is local 1 object. Destructing 2, global 2 object. Destructing 1, global 1 object. So in this way, for if you consider for destructors, you have to consider reverse order of the object creation. So we have created global 1, global 2, local 1, local 2. If you consider reverse order, local 2, local 1, global 2, global 1. So it will be displayed destructing 4, destructing 3, destructing 2, destructing 1. Okay, understood. So now if you have any doubts, you can ask.